that. And actually, Leticia, you probably know how to clip things, and so I could send you a copy of this, and we'll figure out if you wanted to do something. But anyway, so
Yes, that'd be great.
my wonderful friend Leticia, you say that Leticia, right? Or
Yes, Leticia.
Leticia. Okay.
Mhm.
It's so pretty. So I would love for you to meet some of my superstars. So Beth, why don't you go and introduce yourself and just say just a little bit about how long you've been doing Mary Kay and what else you do and what you love most about Mary Kay.
Okay. My name is Beth Owen. I've been doing Mary Kay 20,
I think it's 22 years.
22 years. Yeah, I'm going on 23. And my other job is I'm a vet tech. And I have been for, gosh, quite some time. I'm ready to retire.
What's your favorite thing about Mary Kay?
My favorite thing about Mary Kay is learning. Lately, I've really been liking to pick up on stuff.
Yeah. And you know what? When you were at work at the vet's office today, did they applaud you?
No, I was there by
No.
myself.
So let's give you some applause. Hey, thank you, Bill, for being here. Absolutely. Oh, and Miss Melissa, would you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm a newer consultant to this team and enjoy being here for learning. There's been a lot that we learn here that we also can implement into our lives as well. Outside of Mary Kay, I put on the Veterans Day Parade here in Las Vegas. And so just sharing skincare and uh, care for yourself is kind of the focus.
Beautiful. Thank you, Melissa. Yes, one of my local buddies. We hang out a lot, which is really, really, it's been a beautiful thing. So, and then Miss Maggie, would you introduce yourself, please?
Well, good evening. I currently live in Connecticut. I have been in Mary Kay since 99. We don't have to figure out how many years that is, right? I've been actively working my business for 5 years though. And what I love most about Mary Kay is the woman, like her vision to empower other women, and to empower them to believe in themselves, right? What can be more powerful than that? Because once that happens, anything can flourish, whether it be your home life, your business, whatever it is that God has really intended for you is possible. And that is definitely what I love most about Mary Kay. Oh, and I am a physical therapist and I run that business too. So it's a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Maggie. Well, I'll tell you what, I am going to do a little share screen here because I always have a few things. Now, I just want you to know that Colleen, my incredible virtual assistant, is going to be producing a videotape next week with recognition for what's been going on so far in January. So what I've got now is my shared screen is announcements and selling opportunities or different opportunities. So hold on to your seats, girls. I got a few things to talk about. Okay, and this is right here. So first of all, shout outs. Well, we just talked about that. And just a reminder that I was very, very proud. Our team was number 6 in the state of Nevada for December. So let's see where we go in January. Woo! Yes, watch out. It's going to be fun. Now I have some exciting news about the calendar. And so the 3 of you are already taking advantage of the Wednesday and Thursday night events. Tuesday night, we have bingo, but dun, da, da, we have a local meeting on Monday night, the 29th, because yay, Maggie's going to be in town. So we're going to get to meet some of the local people here are going to get to meet Maggie. And I'm really, really looking forward to that. And yeah, well, I'm looking forward to having Maggie visit all the way around. And also I want to just do a quick reminder that on the Thursday night events, which is about learning for people to learn how the business works, and she has a different speaker every week. Linda Tupin, for those of you that know who that is, Linda Tupin is going to be the speaker this Thursday, like tonight. I just realized that's tonight. So she's
Yes.
gonna be the speaker tonight, so that's gonna be really, 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 really good. But they give away 4 starter kits, basically, every single week. So this is a great way to introduce someone to the business that might be interested in just checking it out and maybe start the Mary Kay for free. What a good deal is that? So that's a quick reminder. Okay, are you aware? I think you guys are all aware of the phase outs that are happening. Our Skinvigorate Breast, the men's shave foam is going away. They are, I think, reducing the men's skincare line, making it simplified. I'm not really sure what's going on with that. And the mascara samples are going away. So last night we learned about using the mascara samples, but you know, and I have to say, here in Las Vegas, I figured out I had to quit using them because they dried out. So, but that's just the problem here. So, but there are these phase outs going on. So if you want any of these products, get them now. I know I stocked up on shave foam and stuff because that's a fabulous shave foam. But anyway, okay, Valentine's Day. If you want to just think ahead here, Valentine's Day comes up really, really fast in February. I think it's a very short selling period. But in case you want to do some updating, some stockpiling, I guess you can call it, and you can look at the Forget Me Not look, and that's on our Facebook page, just so you know. Okay. A reminder, I mean, I don't know about you, but my customers are starting to tell me which of the half off items they want, because they have figured it out. Finally, for every $50 they spend, they get one of these items at half off. And they're starting to tell me about it. I'm like, wow, that's really fun. Although I just realized, yeah, the microdermabrasion set, I just sold a repair set. And she said she wanted this one at half price. I went, okay, that works. So anyway, and let's remember about bingo, because bingo, of course, talks about exactly the same products for our half off deals. So it's a great way to introduce people to just a limited number of products. It's a fun thing. And I guess that's the other thing, when you go to bingo, it's one of you can learn like 1 or 2 lines to talk about each product. So you don't have to go into depth, but it gives you a little bit of information to just share. So that's really, really a good thing to do. Shop till you drop. We're going to, how many, I know some of you have already entered some people this month in the $500 giveaway. So keep going with that. And when you enter your contest, you know, you will also be in a drawing for this handbag, Michael Kors. I know MK looks like Mary Kay, but it's Michael Kors. So, and I think they're giving away 2 bags. So that's not a bad thing. You might want to do that. Super Bowl, we've talked about this, but I mean, I don't know, my customers are already talking about it because I've done it so many years. But you know, for every $10 someone orders, then they get a square. So if you need more information on that, let me know. I will be happy to help you out with that. Okay, Maggie, did you see this? It's the new director suit jacket for the next 2 years.
Oh, so the skirt's still black and the jacket's pink?
There's no skirt. It's just a jacket. All we
Oh.
get now is a jacket. We don't get, yeah, we don't get any accessories. You get to kind of do whatever you want. So it's a short jacket and then a classic jacket. I mean, did you hear anything about a skirt?
No, I just usually the suit is a suit versus a jacket. That's all.
Oh, no. 2 years ago, when it was COVID and we weren't really wearing the suit, all we were doing is wearing the jacket. They finally decided, well, just keep it with that way. So every 2 years, there's a new jacket. And so it's official, but I think it is so sharp. I'm really excited about this. And what I'm hearing from the directors that are in Fort Worth right now is the fabric is wonderful. It's not Nicole Miller, it's another company. And it's really, really a beautiful jacket. So anyway, and we've got our guest speaker. And those are my announcements. So do you have any questions on any of those things? probably not. You may have been aware of all those things, but I just wanted to go through all that. So, you know what? And then without further ado, I mean, I really want you to meet Leticia, who's got some amazing skills. And as I said, she spoke with us Tuesday at our meeting, and we all kind of mellowed out, and we all just learned in 8 short minutes, and she's got much more time tonight. Oh, so young lady, is there anything else I can say, or do you want to just take it away?
Yeah, I can start if you like.
All right, why don't you go ahead, and I am going to feature you as the speaker. So, all right, Leticia, go.
Thank you. Hello, ladies. It's so nice to spend time with you. So my name is Leticia Escamilla. I'm a meditation teacher and mindset coach, but I don't want those quote unquote titles to get in the way as far as putting this distinction between me and you, because we are no different. The only thing that makes me just a little bit different because of those titles is the fact that I've been able to have a really consistent mindfulness practice. And the reason why I started this mindfulness practice is because I had a horrible outlook on life and people 8 years ago before I started my business. And I realized that something needed to change. I needed to stop playing victim. I needed to stop blaming everyone else around me for things that were happening. And I needed to get out of my own way. And so when I found things like meditation and journaling and yoga and all these amazing things, it wasn't really about the practices so much as it was the consistency that I was putting into them all of the time. And so I'm going to share with you some of the practices that I do. They're going to be very simple and easy, especially that we are in a virtual setting. So it's not meant to complicate. And I think a lot of the times, a lot of us do that. If we are, if we have a mindfulness practice or we've heard about these things before, we think it has to be so complicated. It has to take a lot of our time. And that's just not the case. The idea is just to see what works for us and how to implement them within our day. And I like to think of these practices as preventative measures so that when things like stress come up, has that ever happened to anyone? Stress
Well done.
or burnout or overwhelm, right? Or lack of motivation, any of those things that like to come up and hang out with us for the day. When those things come up, if we don't know how to understand and work with them, because they're just there to show us something at the end of the day, that's when things can spiral downhill. That's when negative things start to happen. That's when anxiety starts to happen. That's when depression starts to happen, because we're going to be faced with a little stress. We're going to be faced with challenges and obstacles. But the thing is not to hide and duck away from it when it's happening. It's how do I show up the best version of myself when those things are happening? And that's when the mindfulness practices come in. And they're called a practice because when we show up to practice, that's where we get to fidget and do all of the things that, may be uncomfortable, or just making time for it can sometimes be the hardest part. But when we do that, we start to realize that it starts to show up for us in our life, and things get just a little bit more easier to handle. It doesn't make it go away. It doesn't make it okay, but it just makes it a little bit easier to get past so we can get to the other side, because we know we've all gone through things and there's always been something on the other side waiting for us that is beautiful in whatever way that looks at the time. So I want to quickly just share with you some quick practices that we can do and go from there. So the things I like to say is that we have the tools within and around us. We are already equipped with everything we need. We don't really need much, which is so beautiful. And so my whole goal is to just help you discover or rediscover really how to use the tools you already have. So the first one I want to play with is the tool of our breath. So if I can, I would like to invite you ladies just to take a moment to close your eyes and just take a deep breath in through the nose and take a deep breath out the nose. And we'll do another round, but this time I want to invite you to take a really deep breath, starting from the bottom of your breath or bottom of your belly, and let it travel up and expand the ribs, expand the chest, and see if it can travel up even further into the throat And if it can, go all the way to the top of your head. And once you reach that point, gently let that breath descend down very slowly, going down from your head to your throat, to your chest, all the way down, letting the breath go fully from the bottom of your belly. And once you let all that breath out, I invite you now to put one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. And as you take this next breath in, I just want you to repeat to yourself in your mind, I am breathing in. And as the breath leaves the body, repeat to yourself, I am breathing out. And just one more round on your own, breathing in, repeating to yourself, I am breathing in. And as you breathe out, just say, I am breathing out. And then go ahead and open your eyes. How are we feeling?
Centered.
Relaxed, relaxed, just leveled down just a little bit, a little
Just a
slower.
little bit. Yeah, just a little shift, right? In that short amount of time. So one of the things I love to share is that we don't need a lot of time to do these practices. 1 minute, in fact, can be just enough, especially if we're just getting started. And even to this day, even though I have these practices always in my tool belt, doing them every single day, life happens. Sometimes, I'm with family and, I'm staying up later than I normally do. And then that goes into the next day, right? So I'm sleeping in and that takes away some of the time I've, carved out for myself. And so my time is a little less, but that doesn't mean that I stop doing the practice. I just adjust with the day, but I never not show up for myself. I always show up for myself in a way. And if it's just 1 minute that day or 1 minute spurts throughout the day, then that's good enough, because I know for sure by showing up for ourselves, we're able to show up for others so much more better. So the other practice that I like to share that's really simple and it's playful and it's fun. And we did this on Tuesday as well. And this is the movement piece. So as I mentioned, we have all the tools and resources we need. Our body, our breath, our mind, and maybe other few little trinkets around are always there to be a part of these practices with us. So we don't need to spend lots of money. We don't need to go to the fancy gyms or yoga studios unless you want to and you want to really just create community. But you can do this all within just where you are with what you have already equipped within you. So movement is a beautiful way to disrupt energy within and around us. That's why it's so important for so many different factors. So we're not going to go off and take our phones out for a run, especially not in Connecticut and where everyone is with these crazy weathers. Because I'm like Nancy, I got to take my jacket off earlier today too, being here in Vegas. So not to brag, Maggie, at all. Not to brag, but it is like astonishing to hear like, oh my gosh, I've never experienced weather like that. So and even because of that, right, we can't go outside because of the storms and, things like that are happening. Or here in the summers, we don't, dare go outside to take a run. So what can we do, right? What can we do with the time that we have or the elements that we are faced with? So really quickly, I'm going to ask all of you beautiful ladies to put your arms in the air. And you've guessed it, we're going to wave them around like you just don't care. So go ahead and just start shaking for me. Just shake. And while you do this, I'm going to share with you 2 ways why this is important while you do this practice, and I'm doing it with you. So I use this practice to just give myself some really great new energy. So you can do this in the morning or in the middle of your day instead of grabbing 4 or 5 cups of coffee. If you're going into some kind of boring meeting, maybe this is a great way to just raise your vibrations. The other way to use this practice is when we're feeling that negative energy or maybe even negative thoughts, or maybe an unsettling email came in, right? Or whatever it was that just kind of just set our day a little off than what it was. Instead of responding to things right away and going, I'm going to email them exactly what I think, right? Just take a moment to do this and just shake it out and, reshift the energy within and around you. Okay, so we can put our arms down. I don't know about you, but my heart rate's up now, right? I feel a little different than I did before I started that practice. And so it's really important to, when I said in that second way to use this, when we have an unsettling moment or going into maybe an unsettling thing, it's really important that mindfulness practices also help us to shift our attitude towards things, because the stress that I mentioned earlier that we all experience and will continue to experience, it's not like it's going to go away, but it's actually the more we adjust our attitude towards stress, the more that, or we adjust our attitude towards life, the more stress loses its power over us. Because it's how we respond to things that are happening in our life is what's causing the stress, not necessarily what's actually happening to us. It's our response to it. So it's up to us to realize, okay, this is happening. How do I shift so that I can have a different outlook that it's actually not going to put me in this stressful state? Does that make sense for everyone?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. So, you guys are all business women. You guys have a business within Mary Kay, which is amazing. And I have my business. So we're all entrepreneurs. We're business women. We're boss babes, And, one of the things that I've realized in my business is that there's always these ebbs and flows, right? Whatever it is, whether it's new sales or, there's those peaks where everything seems like, okay, it's working out. And then all of a sudden we get in these dips and these valleys. And one of the things that mindfulness practices help me with is enjoying the process of these ebbs and flows, because they're going to always happen, just like life. That's how business is. So how can we enjoy the process, the ebb and flow? Because when things are happening, it's, sometimes we expect it to go a certain way. And when we put so much expectation on things, that's when we get disappointed. That's when we feel like we failed. And so how can we just enjoy the way things are happening and go with its flow and kind of step back and take back and look at what is it that maybe this situation or this particular thing happening now is trying to tell me? Does that make sense?
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
So I want to quickly, I think I asked Nancy if you all could have like a notebook, a journal, a piece of paper, just something to write with. So we can go into our other mindfulness piece here, our third piece, which is the journaling piece. And journaling, does anybody journal? Does anyone already have a journaling practice? Nancy? Okay. So journaling is an amazing practice. If you don't do it, I recommend it. Of course, I just provide you the tools and you get to choose which ones resonate with you and which ones, you want to work with. But for tonight, we'll do a little journaling so you can experience it. But journaling has been an amazing practice for me because it helps me to get all these things out of my mind, all of these thoughts, all of these ideas, all of these things I'm pondering on and trying to make decisions on, even creative ideas, maybe just, situations and things like that. I write it all down because now it's out of my head and it lives now in this other space that I can look at and actually see from a different perspective, whether it's a challenge or an amazing win that I'm having in my life or in that moment or that day. So speaking of these mindfulness practices and using the breath a little bit and using the shaking, or the movement, I want you to write down this question for yourself. How can I add more me time to my day? How can I add more me time to my day? And we're going to actually journal on it. So just start to journal. And we'll do so for about 1 minute.
What is that noise?
Oh, I put on music.
Oh, okay.
I'll pick a different song.
Yeah, we're only hearing some of the lower stuff.
Yeah.
it. That might be a little bit more relaxing. So about 30 seconds left. Okay, our minute is up. Goes by so fast. So I had you start working with this journal prompt because building a relationship with yourself is going to be how you can enjoy the process and the ebbs and flows in life, and really just accept all the things that you are experiencing as these learning lessons and these opportunities to grow and evolve. But we have to first see it that way, and that's really hard. I know that. But the more that we can spend time with ourselves to really understand who we are and how we can be honest with ourselves and learn how to trust ourselves more, we start to cultivate that more and more. So I'd love to hear from you all, since we are a very intimate group, just to go around really quickly, is that to answer or just share a little bit about how you can add more me time into your day. And I'm going to just lead it based on how I see you on the screen and go in order. So Beth, you are next to me on my screen, so I'm going to go in that order. If you could just share what came up for you of how you're going to add that me time to your day.
Oh, I was thinking in between phone calls, I could do the breath or the movement. Movement would make me excited.
Yes, I love that. In between calls. So are you making calls for Mary Kay or calls for your vet tech job?
Oh, for Mary Kay. I'd do it at home.
Okay.
I wouldn't do it at the vet.
Oh, okay. Why
With the customers coming in, nah.
not? Well, when you're alone or if you when you take a
When
break.
I'm alone, that's one thing, but when there's
Oh,
people coming in, no.
okay,
They didn't
fair.
want to see you shaking like that.
It becomes wrong.
So Beth, are you making sales calls for Mary Kay?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Yes, that's great. Oh yes. And sales calls can be very daunting at times, just to be honest. So to be able to like take those breaks and get yourself back collected, I love that. So thank you for sharing that, because I completely understand what sales calls are like. Nancy, you are up next on my grid.
Well, I wrote down, and we talked about this Tuesday, is setting an alarm and just
Yes.
intentionally scheduling 2 or 3 5-minute times, and commit to, whether it's 3 minutes or 5 minutes. Now I tend to do, this is morning time is when I have time to sit down and do a lot of different things, among them journaling. So that's always one of my times. It's a great way to set the day, but then it gets lost in the rest of the day. So scheduling, maybe morning, noon, and night, or however, I could schedule it in more intentionally.
Yes, I love that. And so you're going to set alarms for yourself.
Right.
To go
Right.
off. Okay. Yeah.
Or
And
to shake my hands.
whatever you need to do. Yeah. And you just do it from right where you are, in your car. I've done it. Yeah. I go in the bathroom and sometimes meditate wherever I am, just to kind of come back and bring myself to center. Sometimes we just need to find a quiet spot alone to just kind of bring ourselves back. And I was going to say too, I love the alarm system. I also like use that in workshop as well. And sometimes I just say 1 minute. It doesn't have to be 3 minutes or 5 minutes. It could be just 1 minute, and 1 minute of just intentional breathing or doing that shaking for 1 minute is life-changing in that moment and can really shift. So I love the alarm idea. Thank you for that, Nancy. Up next, Melissa, if you could share what came up for you.
Well, I read my life on alarms, so I'm right behind on that same. And I put set an alarm with the intent of breathing, journaling, praying, reading,
Mhm.
shaking.
Okay. I love that. Thank you so much, Melissa. How about you, Maggie? How are you going to add more me time to your day?
Well, the first thing that came to mind for me was just to set limits on work hours. I mean, I think that's my
Oh,
big problem with as business yourself. I'm never off the clock. It's never stops. So that's why I never seem to get to bed on time. So I actually said also scheduling bedtime. Like that would be super exciting for me. That would, I don't know, that would change my world. But I really like what Beth said about between phone calls doing the handshake thing because guys, I am still terrified of making phone calls. Like it is just, I guess it's being with people all day, it's so hard to want to extend a little more. And I think that would really help because it raises the energy and it raises well just the energy. So
yes, I love that. Thank you so much, Maggie. And Ruth, it's so nice to see you and meet you. I know you're just kind of diving in, which I
Yeah,
love, and I love your background, by the
yeah.
way. It's so Mary Kay.
Yeah,
Um,
I figured out how
literally.
to do it and it went nuts.
Oh, I love it. No, it's beautiful and perfect. I love the way when you came in, I was like, how cute. So for you, Ruth, you're
I,
just jumping in, and
I'm
so what
just
came up
jumping
for
in.
you?
Well, I think I'm kind of a little bit of the opposite of most people because I am so busy outside of my Mary Kay bubble that when I finally get into my Mary Kay bubble, I have to settle down. So it's like meditating, giving peace, and figuring out what the plan is, or writing down my thoughts with the plan. And if I need to, now I have that other tool of shake, 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 shake. If I need
Yes.
the energy boost, because I do so many things outside of my pink bubble. So there we go. That's
I
about it.
love it. Thank you all for sharing. And yes, it's so important to make time for yourself. Make time for yourself, even if it's just a short amount of time. It does make such a huge shift in it. And especially because all of you seem like you do so much. Mary Kay is a big part, but with other jobs and other commitments. And, the number one thing that should be always on the list, right? If you have a list, because we all have a list of some sort, it's you first and then everything else after. And so by committing to these different things that you'll do for your day is so amazing. So thank you for that. Okay, so let's dive in. And I wanted to just really quickly talk about, and if Nancy, if you can let me know on time how much, I know I had 20 minutes, so I'm just seeing if I'm.
Oh, you got at least 15 more minutes.
Oh,
And-
okay, perfect.
And I mean, and maybe people want to ask questions and stuff then when we're done.
Yes, we
Okay.
can do that. Yes, thank you. So one of the things I felt called to talk about, especially speaking with women business owners, is that, you guys could probably relate, but in our business, we feel like the only focus is sales, right? We always have to focus on sales, 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 which is very important because, that's a big part of business. That's how we can stay in business. That's how we can have a livelihood within our business. But however, there's so many other layers to business that I think sometimes we forget to focus on because we get so hung up on the sales aspect that, I feel called to share, my experience with that. Whereas I was so focused on sales that sometimes I would, just get so down and look at myself like a failure or not worthy or these different things if I wasn't getting the sales or as many sales as I wanted. Because again, as I mentioned earlier, even sales is an ebb and flow, right? And so I started to realize that when I was so kind of like trying to squeeze sales out of my business and it wasn't working, I eventually learned like, what maybe am I being called to focus on within my business that isn't getting as much attention? So yes, sales is important, but what other area maybe also needs my attention that is going to help my business grow and evolve? So when these sales come in, there's this fluidity happening, So one of the things for me that I started working on was like my systems, for example. When clients come in, what is the funnel? What is the experience they're having so that, they're going through this system, whatever that looks like, right? That sales funnel or that client journey is what it's really called, the client journey. So if we have a client journey, do we have a funnel to get our sales in? So those are all those little things. if, marketing is another one. I think the bingo is your type of marketing, right? I've noticed that the bingo is, if I'm right, Nancy, the bingo is like a form of marketing, right?
Right.
But what other ways of marketing maybe that it excites you, or is that it's fun? I mean, bingo, the Mary Kay bingo is really fun. But what other things maybe can we do within marketing, for example, that we can get ourselves out there to let people know what we do and why we do it? And speaking of why, another thing I realized when I would get too much caught up in the sales and it just didn't seem like no one cared, no one wanted to hear from me, all of the different things, right? Or they're just burnt out from all the other people trying to sell to them in the many different ways. Because again, right, we're all getting sold to or trying to get sold to all of the time, whether we're on our social media, whether we're watching TV and there's a commercial on, we're driving and there's billboards, we're getting the phone calls. So, one of the things I realized was, what other ways could I maybe nurture the current clients I have and do special things with them to, keep them close by, right? It's kind of that low hanging fruit idea, keeping them nurtured and happy, and what do they need? But the most important thing that I realized is that I need to always at some points come back to my why do I do this business in the first place? Why did I start this business? Why did I go into, being a part of, for you guys, for example, the Mary Kay community? Like, why is this important to me? Why are these products important to me? And so always connecting with our why can sometimes give us this new juice in us. So when we go back out to, make those phone calls for clients, or go out and, do a booth or whatever it is, different ways you go out and share, it kind of gives you this new energy within your business to be like, yeah, this is why, and this is why it excites me. And so when you make that call, you can maybe you can tap back into that why, instead of it just being like another call, or whatever it is. Because I know for sure I have been there, trust me. And those calls, like I said, can be daunting, because you're making the call, you're leaving the voicemail, you're finally getting them on the phone. I don't know about you, but after so many like voicemails of talking to nobody technically, and someone answers, you're almost shocked. You're like, oh, hi. And then you're like, you were so ready, like with your, a little bit of a script or idea of what you want to say, but now you're like stunned that someone actually answered, and you're like, oh my God, it's you. Like, but of course you don't say that. You're like, oh, hey, Nancy, it's Leticia. And, I'm calling, you know what I mean? Like, and you go into it. So I totally get it. I totally get the calls and having to do them over and over again. And yeah, sometimes it can just feel like you're doing so much and not getting anywhere. And it's important to give yourself that grace as well, and be like, whatever, if you set goals for calls or whatever it is, just know that every time you take that action and that step, you're pushing the needle, even though sometimes it doesn't feel like it. You're pushing the needle, because the more that you get in front of people, the more that you let people know what you do and why you do it and why you love doing it, right? That it's connecting back to that. Eventually people are going to think of you more and more. And so we don't have to stress and worry so much of like, why isn't it working? Like, it is working. Sometimes we just have to enjoy this dip that I mentioned earlier, right? The ebb and the flow of it, and allow ourselves that grace, but also allow ourselves, as I kind of just bring it back full circle, is what other areas in your business maybe need your attention, that you can focus on, so that all the parts are working well, and not just quote unquote the sales of it all, because all those parts are needed to work really well for sales to work as well. And I think we forget that, especially when we're starting our business, or even when we're in our business, we forget those things. Because of course, the first thing is like, in order to run a business, I have to have, the sales, the clients, but we also need the other parts as well. So with that said, our next journal prompt is going to be an opportunity for us now to tap into the business side of you and see exactly that. So the journal prompt I would like you to write down is, where in my business do I need to spend more time in? Where in my business do I need to spend more time in? And I'll just give you a minute. And of course, you can work on this more and more on your own, but we'll just use a minute now to, oh, that song came back on. That's funny. That's on books to play. Hey, ladies, our 1 minute is up. It goes by so quick.
It does, but
But if you wrote the question down, feel free to like go back to this and definitely dive a little bit deeper if you were like really getting into it. But I'd like to go around and open up our space together and just see what came up for you and see if there's similarities, if there's differences. It's always nice to share and also because you guys are a team and how this, could be areas you guys can work in together as well. You guys get to see what areas you want to work in, and the other one, maybe has a little bit more, advance in it and then can help each other. So that this will be a good way to see how you guys can come together as a team as well. So I'm going to go in the same order that I went in before. So Beth, that means you're first, if you're okay with it.
yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Records, my inventory, updating my things on the computer, like the birthdays and the addresses and all that piddly stuff that I need to get done.
Right. I know. It's all those ways, those little things those tedious things that are just important. So do you guys do things for your clients and their birthdays, or even people who maybe are in your funnel? Do you send special things?
Yeah, I usually like to let them know that they, for the whole month, they get 20% off whatever they order.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's huge. And then and in a sense goes back to helping with sales. So they're like, oh, it's my birthday. Like I get this special advantage or treat that I don't get any other month. So that's really cool. Thank you, Beth. Nancy, how about you?
Well, what I came up with, what I need to do, because I love to make flyers and send out text messages and emails and do stuff like that and get the masses done. But settling down and doing the one-on-one contacts, probably being more focused and wanting that. And I did something this week that I thought really worked well, and that I really focused. I realized, and you guys will understand this, that I had 3 of the old skincare sets left, 3 sets, and so I focused specifically on the people that hadn't ordered in a while, but they were using that set. And I said, I only have 3 left, and I sold them because I was very focused, and I thought, oh, that really was very time efficient. So I
Yes.
thought, if I focus on maybe just a specific group as opposed to I got to make customer calls.
I love that.
Yeah, that's my thing.
Yeah, great one, Nancy. Thank you. I think Melissa just got off a call. It's your turn. Are you okay to go or?
So these ladies know that I've been working towards doing booths and for my style of sales. So just continuing to work on trying to have a booth every month, and if there
Okay.
isn't an event available for that month, just pushing, towards the next month and having that for my consistency new customer contact and
Ooh, I
sales.
love that. Yes. Thank you for sharing, Melissa. How about you, Maggie?
One thing Janet Trude said last week was she said no one gets excited over a text message. And that kind of hit me because I like text messages. Those are much kinder. You're not interrupting people. They can respond if they want to. You know what I mean? It's not a phone call. So like Nancy said, phone calls. To be, and then when they answer, not to get shocked and be like, hi, oh shit, I don't know what to say to you. That's usually what happens. But the other thought was I think it was Angel Fry on the was it the January Jumpstart or whatever, she said about, for people's birthdays, like to really celebrate them. And that's something that I put off just because it feels like it's cliche, like every vendor out there was like, oh, happy birthday, here's your 20% off or some such crap. But what she actually said was, no, give them a surprise. So even if you put a little gift bag with like a happy birthday like sign that, and a few balloons and like something small that's not I mean, we're talking about $5 worth of stuff, right? But it's enough to say, hey, you care. And since I'm not fantastic with cards, although that is a goal for this year, I actually did that for one of my January birthdays. She did end up ordering something as her half price gift for me for her birthday, but I put it together with all of those things that Angel had suggested, and that's, I mean, just the surprise. It was just so cute, and she has a 2-year-old, and it was just her 2-year-old's birthday is 2 days after hers, but it was kind of fun that she had something just for herself. So I think that's something, just the idea of make me feel important is a little bit more of reaching out during that time where women sometimes feel vulnerable because we're aging, right?
I love that. Thank you. Yeah. And that's a great nurturing your client, right? And making them feel special. And I think like at the end of the day, that's what's important. And that's what's going to build you as your personal brand, because we're all our own personal brand, but then it transpires into our business as well. And so I love that. Thank you for sharing, Maggie. And Ruth, how about you?
I didn't have too much. Everybody else is, I'd say ditto to that, but I'll pick and choose at that. But I thought of just developing the relationship further than just the birthday, and just find out about family and just kind of find out things about them that might help me prepackage something for them on their birthday or anniversary. But just finding out more about them, because right now it's, oh, here's your product. Okay, well, we'll talk about some other things, and we'll talk about Mary Kay. What other cosmetics? But I don't really get into the conversation. Well, how's your kids? Or your dog is really cute. He's up against my leg. It's wonderful. He's nice and warm. Things like that. But it's just, I just got to develop that and get it more make it so that I can be more personable with them instead of just the cosmetics, because that's where I kind of left it, because I've been afraid to go any further, because I sometimes feel like I'm prying into their lives, and I don't want to feel that. But people like talking about themselves, I guess.
Yeah.
That is true, Ruth. Yeah. And when we give them that opportunity to do so, we learn so much. And, and I think to your point, when we build relationships, that's when yes, we have that forever client, which is amazing. But then because they trust you and care for you in a whole new way, and maybe even shared things with you because of the different products you guys do sell, maybe that lipstick just makes them feel sexy. And it's because of you selling that, right? But it's also going to transpire into them referring to you like, oh, I use this product, it's amazing, and you have to meet Ruth because she's the one that helped me find it, and she has this and so much more. And then that's the building. And it's one of the things as a business owner that's coming to mind to share too, is that sometimes it feels like it's moving so slow. Building relationship takes time. It's not like, we meet today and all of a sudden we're best friends and I'm just telling you my whole life. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is what happened. Like it takes time for us to open up. And, that can sometimes feel like everything else is kind of moving slow. But again, it's that ebb and flow to how do I enjoy this moment and enjoy, because at a certain point, all that work, all that what we thought didn't work is going to come in like this beautiful wave. And we're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And so just like we, enjoy those amazing moments, or that energy or that flow that comes in, how can we also enjoy when things are just kind of taking its time to get to us a little bit? even though it's not as fun or what we expect, but how can we also enjoy those moments as well? And yeah, just going back and just let me just reconnect with who has trusted me and who has, you know, bought from me before, and let me just kind of reinvest into them in a different way. And you'll notice like all these other people will start to come along all of a sudden. And so that's been something I have also noticed, you know, doing that. That's been the biggest thing. So thank you guys so much for just being open and vulnerable with me. I know that, you know, I'm new and you guys don't know me, but I appreciate you so much. So just to kind of wrap things up, I would love to answer any questions. Like Nancy said, if you guys had anything about mindfulness, you know, if there's any things that you want me to help debunk, any myths, or even just about business, you know, I'm definitely not here to share about being a business expert, but I shared on it a little bit because I have been a business owner for almost a decade, which is crazy to say. And I've learned a lot, but I'm still continuously learning. Like I'm always a student. So these are things I've definitely learned, and how mindfulness helped me to learn them and be more just okay with where I am in my own life and where I am in my business, and know that as long as I'm connected to my why and what I'm doing is to serve others, and it's also fun and playful for me and gives me joy, then it's all going to work out. So I thought that was a perfect thing to share with all of you today, so, or this evening. So yes, please, any questions, any thoughts, any comments, any words of wisdom you have.
And what did you learn today? How about
Yes,
what
the
are the
takeaway.
nuggets that you picked up today?
Yes, any takeaways?
Always make time for yourself.
Yes.
Right out of your mouth. From my mind to your mouth.
Yes, always make time for yourself. Don't hit snooze on those alarms. Those alarms you've all set for yourself. Don't, I know, right? You make the alarm and then you hit snooze, and then it's counterintuitive what we just did. So don't hit, that's why I said, even if you commit to 1 minute, then it's easier to be like, okay, the alarm's off. Okay, 1 minute. What am I doing? What am I doing? What else is a takeaway?
I like this. I love this.
Yay, I love it.
Yes, because you know, and I always spend about an hour before the meetings because I really want to be emotionally and mentally prepared for the meeting. I will often either take the dog for a walk for 20 minutes or take a little rest, take a little nap, to just kind of focus on what I'm doing here. But I probably it would be much more efficient. Well, my dog wouldn't like it, but if I would shake do that for a minute, I was like, oh, that
I
doesn't
don't take it
really
as a
help. Oh my goodness, yeah. Well,
Yes.
Leticia, you also are the author of 2 books.
Yes, I am. I have it right here, actually. So I did author a book slash journal. It's called Me Time, Mindful Moments to Reflect, Release, and Reconnect. So I'm all committed and all about the me time. So the first, I want to say like 15 pages is a little mini book. I started to put together just some of my own stories of my life and my family and why mindfulness was really important. I wanted to share that. And then the rest is a journal for you to use. So this is actually my personal one. So it's already written in. So I do use my own product. But
It's good.
yes. So if you're interested, I can send all the details to Nancy, or I can put it in the chat here.
Facebook group, sure.
Yes.
Bet.
And so, yeah, I created this journal because I just wanted other women to have moments to bond and connect with themselves, to be honest with themselves, ask questions, write things down, and really get to know themselves. We don't take the time to get to know who we are. And if we don't do that, then the world is quick and ready to tell us who we are. And that's how we get all caught up in so many different things. And, you know, I know for myself, when I started doing these practices like journaling, meditation, all those things, I started to really unlock my true essence. And that's why I'm able to just now live life with so much more peace and ease and just enjoy for what it is. All the, like I said, all the ebbs and flows are all happening for me, not happening to me. And so I wouldn't have been able to even say that or even understand that and live that without all of these different practices. So thank you for that, Nancy.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I guess, yeah. It looks awesome.
Thank you.
Any final thoughts as we wrap things up here? Ladies, do you have any more comments? I mean, thank you, Leticia. I mean, I learned a lot, and this was such a great presentation. Thank you. I was like focused on this one for sure.
Oh, thank you. Yes, any questions, any thoughts, I'm more than happy to answer.
Well, you're the third person this week that told me I needed a journal or write things down. And I'm like, well, shit, I continue to listen.
I think you got to.
So thank you for being part of that, parade.
Yes.
But it's a very fresh perspective, especially about mindfulness, because we think it has to be this, drudgery practice, right? And it really could just be that 1 minute and we forget, and how much that 1 minute can really make a difference. So thank you.
Agreed.
Yes, you're welcome. Yeah, we seem to complicate things. I think all of us do as humans. We complicate things so much and make it seem like it has to be this huge challenge that we have to overcome. And it's really a lot easier than what we've been told. And we just have to let go and give ourselves grace and honestly make it easier for ourselves, make it super easy for ourselves so that we can feel that win and that success in everything that we do every day.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you, ladies. Every single one of you, Leticia, this has really been a terrific joy, and I thank you so much for this. And so my favorite thing is that we are a gift. We are offering a gift of our products and our business, but mostly we're offering the gift of ourselves. And what we have is to let people know who we are and that we care. And so as we progress through this awesome week that we're having with our wonderful Mary Kay business and bringing joy and love to people. So thank you all very much for being here tonight. Have a beautiful, beautiful week. Take care.
Much.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, Leticia.
You're welcome.
Thank
Have a
you,
wonderful
Leticia.
evening. Stay warm.
Yeah, really. Yeah. Isn't that
Yeah,
my
more
gosh.
snow tonight. More snow tonight for another 4 inches.
Oh,
my-
man.
Yeah. Woohoo!
Just stay cuddled. Thank you,
Yeah.
everyone.
Well, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.